Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Contenders League, where tonight we have Stratosphere taking on Auburn University. My name is Austin Visions Neal. Joined with me on tonight's cast is Jordan Switch Estrada, and Switch are in for some more spicy action like we were 2 weeks ago.
That's right. It feels like just yesterday we were casting UCL, and here we are back again. Stratosphere versus Auburn University. Auburn University, of course, at a 1-3 currently in terms of their standings. 1 win, 3 losses in terms of series. And of course, Stratosphere at that 2-2 mark, I believe 5 wins, 5 losses as well. So just evening out, middle of the pack for Stratosphere, but Auburn trying to sort of snag their way into that cutoff zone where you could start making those playoffs.
That's right in the middle of the pack, roughly to the bottom. Want to be able to get those wins here. So, like you said, can make that run for playoffs. But we're already jumping in towards phase 1 bans. Lots of champions have been taken off the table here so far. Jinx and Sejuani. And follow that up, there will be that Kindred and Ezreal.
And Visions, this is a very interesting patch. I think we're finally starting to see a bit of a meta shift. You think back at MSI, it was all about the tank supports, but now it's the land of enchantment. It's the land of enchanters. Karma. We have been seeing a little bit of Lulu, but you still have Lux as well, a very strong pick. But in this case, hey, we're going right back to the basics. So Nautilus support and Mordekaiser actually first picked. Mordekaiser, I think a lot of people think that he's quite overtuned. In fact, I think he is overtuned as a matter of fact. But he does have some clear weaknesses at the same time.
Yeah, he certainly does. I think anyone who's one of those enchanter supports would definitely be on that page with their Switch. Not a good time to get locked in towards that death realm, but we are seeing that Kaisa and Nautilus follow that up there. Potentially could be the ball in here for Auburn University, and they are hovering that Draven, but looks like it might be switched over to that Rakan for that engage.
Oh, and does this mean that we should be expecting a Xayah as the third pick to round out the first pick phase? Yes, it is. And I completely agree with the decision. I think Xayah's in a fantastic spot at the moment, assuming you snag Rakan with it. I mean, the Lovers duo is the duo for a reason. They provide a nice amount of engage as well as the follow-up with Xayah's Feather Call Snare. So nice to see that picked up. It's going to work well with Mordekaiser overall because it's not a long-range composition you're working with. You more just want to walk at them, start beefing it out.
That's right. Run at them, try and get those engages. 100% agree with you. As Rise going to be locked in there before our second phase. Have been seeing some popularity in him as he did get a little bit of changes towards his kit. So can be flexed again towards that top mid lane. I think that's pretty much been one of the main things in towards season 9 is the flex picks that have been coming out so far in towards the season. As we jump in towards phase 2 bans, Rek'Sai, Ari, and the Nico are going to be taken off the table here.
Yeah, the Nico, so a bit of a pinch to the mid, bit of a pinch to the jungle here. And I mean, Rise, we have been seeing a good amount of him. I think after his last rework, he has been doing a bit better overall. He's not too unwieldy in the hands of high elo players and basically trash in the hand of low elo players. He's sort of starting to hit that middle ground where he provides a lot of damage, but you can no longer abuse stuff like the point and click snare. It's not as easy to get that anymore. So getting right into the next pick phase, we are started off with Nunu.
Yeah, giving us a jungler as we saw a pretty big pinch on towards that here. The Kindred, the Rek'Sai taken away, potentially the Talia, the Sejuani, and the Hecarim. So lots of bans towards some of those top tier junglers. And now you have to kind of go towards that next tier, go deeper in towards your jungle pool. And looks like that is going to get us the Nunu versus the Skarner matchup.
Yeah, looks like it. And both of these junglers, I do like a surprising amount. I mean, Skarner, of course, the QSS tax is all we ever talk about with him. He's fantastic at follow up. And if you do not respect the Impale ultimate, you will definitely find yourself in a world of hurt. So that's always a threat. That's always something that you have to take into account when you pick up Skarner. And Nunu, on the other hand, I think is fantastic for getting the snowball rolling. Pun intended this time, Visions. Getting
Pun
that
intended.
snowball rolling. You have a fantastic early game. You can go ahead and go for invades if you happen to get priority across the map. And it's just an overall tanky pick. It goes into like sort of soft engage, soft tank pick as you get to that late game. But hopefully you don't want to get there, right?
Yeah, hopefully you don't get there, but Nunu always obviously a very exciting pick. Being able to actually be pretty proactive in the early game. Sometimes you don't expect that of him, but he can
Oh
get
yeah.
around the map and create those ganks, trying to get rid of some of those early summoner spells. As our last pick that did come through there was that Kennen got saved to go up against that Mordekaiser, which again we got to touch on that very early on as they put high priority on that for that first pick here. So as KT Koro, going for that Kennen to see if he might be able to stop that snowball and kind of do a little bit of poking of his own.
And honestly, when a Mordekaiser is first picked, you really have to try and find your best counter pick for the Mordekaiser. I mean, Kennen, ranged matchup, because honestly, in melee matchups, Mordekaiser pretty much wins every single one of them. It's even Tom Kench, like the one that's not supposed to lose melee matchups because he's overtuned right now, loses to Mordekaiser just because how good he is at executing his kit. So the Kennen, it's going to be trying to kite around. It's going to be trying to somewhat bully the Mordekaiser in the laning phase. And hopefully, you're going to have a different role when you get to team fights. More of that engage, more of that collapsing flank style, as opposed to the Mordekaiser, who's going to be sort of the vanguard, the front line that's going to start bruising all those front liners and trying to pierce into the back line.
Exactly it. And the Kennen does have that kind of choice of going, in towards that 1v1 match if he wants to go for that Blade of the Rune King that we have
Oh, yeah.
seen. And, he can go into that option, like you just said, the TP flanks with the full AP competition. When you get that proto belt, you get rest of those items coming through. It's absolutely terrifying. You always have to be on the lookout for that, have to be clearing vision, making sure there's no wards behind you. So the Kennen can be extremely effective. Have to see exactly where the jungle pressure is really going to lie on towards the map to see who they really want to get ahead, because we have a lot of laners here, specifically down towards the bottom and the top side, that when they get those leads, they are able to, get that snowball going and then transition that in towards objective after objective.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side of Auburn, I think you are sort of relegated to Mordekaiser duty, where you had to make sure this lane does not get out of control because he is actually one of those champions that changes the context of the game. If he gets fed, him putting you into the Shadowverse with him is actually insane. Like, you will lose every single 1v1 provided he's fed. So you got to make sure he doesn't get too strong. You got to make sure whoever gets into his ultimate with him will probably come out alive or at least buy a lot of time.
Absolutely. That's what it's going to come down to. But for now, guys, we're going to be getting a little bit of a shout out here just to the open qualifiers that are going on. If you aren't aware, so now if you ever wanted to see how you would stack up against other competitive teams of all skills and rankings, and you think you got what it takes to compete at the higher level than solo queue, then gather 4 of your friends or teammates and enter in towards that free Upsurge Esports open qualifier. Upsurge Esports is giving everyone, experienced or not, the chance to compete for a prize pool of $3,000, as well as an opportunity to qualify for Riot Games LCS Scouting Ground qualifiers. It's very exciting news. This 2-day tournament will be on August 3rd and the 4th, but registration will start this coming Friday here. Again, this is a no entry fee and anyone can enter. So strap up and get in here. Get ready for your Upsurge Esports Open qualifiers. But for now, guys, we're going to be throwing to a short little break so that we can get in towards the game. So make sure you do not go anywhere. You do not want to miss game number 1. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to jump onto Summoner's Rift here for game number 1. Auburn University taking on Stratosphere and Switch. We have some very exciting games in Week Cast UPL. Both of these teams are very desperate for wins, so you know there is a lot on the line still in towards this season at the moment.
That's right. We're not even that far into the season, so you really need to start racking up the wins, get yourself potential to get into those playoffs, because I'm sure, every team has the intentions of getting into playoffs, maybe winning it all, but at the very end of the day, you want to play as much as possible. That's what these community leagues are for. You came here to play League of Legends, so you don't want your trip to end shortly. Here's an invade, though.
Shortly here. That's not a good way to start game number 1. And that also went over towards the Kaiser there. So actually 400 gold in his pocket as he goes for that reset.
Just about as good as you can imagine that 4-man invade going. Catching over a off guard. At the very least, he did not blow his flash. But at the same time, you said it, Visions. Jadrian with a kill on in his hand. So that's going to be the Sapphire Crystal actually picked up for him.
Staff Fire Crystal going to be a little bit of a small win going in towards that lane there. Actually managed to be a little bit more sustained. Drop down that poke. We're seeing the mid lane. Probably not going to see a whole lot of action for the mid lane, I don't expect here. Morgana's just going to want to free farm, push the wave out there with the Tormented Soil constantly. With the Rise, again, kind of likes that matchup. Just wants to scale up, get some of those core items, and then starts moving around the map. And also has that ability to go for that split push as well.
Yeah, if you asked me 2 patches ago, I would have said, yeah, it's a double control mage matchup. But these days, Rise just packs such a punch. And it's not really about the control mage aspects for him. It's not about the snares anymore. It's really just about being that second damage carry for your team. You really scale up into a big beast, a nice hook to the bot lane. That's going to mean a couple autos flying out.
Getting a little bit aggressive early, trying to fight for that level 2. We all know how important that is. Looks like the Kenna did opt in there for that Doran's Blade as he is trying to put that poke down on towards Murdoch there in the top side here. I know we've already said it. We said how important it is that he shuts down this Mordekaiser in towards that side lane, because if he does get going and does get that snowball, then that's when things get very scary for that Kaiser. Even though her getting that first blood, you bring her in towards that ultimate. She's got nowhere to go. She's almost guaranteed to be 1v1 in there, if not chunked extremely low for the team to clean her up afterwards. So that's going to be a high priority going into towards him.
Yeah, Mordekaiser is just a champion that can allow you to win team fights. There's another hook, but
the turret shot as well. Nice taking down, able to flash away to safety. No more damage going to be returned there, so he's going to force the heal there from Medic. But overall, just going to be some summoners traded back and forth there early on down towards the bottom.
Yeah, not too big of a deal, just the flash blown, unfortunately, for the side of Commissioner, but it's not the least of your problems. Down both junglers going to be meeting at this top side Riven. You can see the side of SKT Kuro coming as well.
Yep, and now we have to play down towards the bot side as the camera's jumping all over the map. That's going to be Ignite taking down. No heal to save you. He flashes. Oh, he dodges the W, but it doesn't matter. Flash return there, trying to even get the trade kill. Not going to fall. So Medic, unfortunately, going to lose his support as the top side is just going to fight over that crowd, but it was Nunu able to secure that there.
Yeah, that was almost a fadeaway kill from Jadrian, but thankfully the Ignite was enough to provide it. Oh no, Murdoch.
That is some Mordekaiser damage there. Does have the flash to get himself out to safety. Looks good. Like he's going to be able to actually pull off the Korean flash there, expecting that he was going to follow it up. So able to get himself into safety. Both flashes going to be used on the top side, and a lot of summoners in towards this game, and we're not done. Another grab going to be contested here. It's going to be stolen away. Flashing forward, Root will land. Alex able to get himself his first one. This is just very explosive work all over the map right now from Auburn University.
Yeah, beautiful collapse for the side of Alex. Oh, another catch out here from Admirable Padel.
Looks like it's going to lead to anything. Have to use that grand entrance. Just getting back towards the lane there too. So, man, also looks like he might even stay for that wave, but he has been chunked very low, and they're looking to make a play on towards the bot side. They do not have any summoners here, Switch. Started off. In some trouble, looking to see if they can land that CC. Medic trying to get away. Now the 2v2. Can they turn it around here? Grand Engines will land, able to pull the root back. They're able to get one there. They're fighting in the wave. The minions are on their side. Looks like the support will fall there, so will be a 1-for-1. Medic,
oh no,
calling for that TP, is going to be able to land a little bit more damage there with that red buff. Hamlet there just to back him up. But maybe we're still not done here. Looks like this Garner's looking for some blood in the enemy jungle. Chasing him down, flashes to make sure he gets it. That will be a couple more kills going down towards the bot side.
Yeah, beautiful punish coming out here for the side of Stratosphere. They get a 1-for-1 first of all, and that 2-for-3. So great play coming out from Jadrian and Commissioner, and then they get another punishing kill after that. It's going to be a bit of the evened up score here. Was 0-3, but now 2-4, just 2 kills differentiating the two teams. And this first Drake is actually going to be the Infernal. So I'm loving the pressure actually coming out from the lane from the side of Auburn. I just wish that they would keep it up, make sure everything is clean. If they keep it up, they can really just get the Infernal Drake just off of their play alone.
Yeah, getting after them would be absolutely huge here. And the way that this game's been going so far, 6 kills, 6 minutes, it's very likely that we could get a scrap over towards that. Also, something to note is both those top laners do have those teleports. It means that they certainly can opt in for that fight here, as Vision's already being set up, already being cleared out here. Looks like Rakan's gonna be able to get himself to safety there just with a grand entrance, but just so much presence is going to be around this Infernal Drake, like you mentioned.
Yeah, both teams know that they have to fight for this Drake to can really start the momentum in the early game. Infernal Drakes are just so very potent, and little side note, but you can just see all of the zoning coming out in the top lane. It's actually very rough for SKT Kuro right now. Wave's going to be crashing to his tower pretty soon, and you also have overrate in the area, so we might have to see a reaction coming out of the side of Stratosphere just so that they don't lose their top lane.
Yeah, definitely could come to it. Well, the 7's going to be hit there by the Mordekaiser here. Murdoch doing everything he can to keep that pressure going. Has himself a nice CS lead built up there, so doing exactly what he needs to do. And that's also the counter pick cannon that did get picked in towards that Mordekaiser. So doing an excellent job of dealing with the pick that SKT Curl thought would work for him. The opposite side of things, we have the Nunu up towards the top side. Could look for that gank. Is doing an excellent job of providing lots of pressure, stealing both of the crabs on the map, and he's doing an excellent job in towards the early game so far. Already has 3 assists in his block.
Oh yeah, he's been just bouncing around the map, and this is why I love the early games from Nunus. I mean, you don't have to worry about sustain. You always have a gank tool in the form of the biggest snowball ever, and you can definitely feel the presence coming out. Obviously, 2-4, you got to contribute a lot of that to the presence from Ansgard on the Nunu. But yeah, we were talking about the CS deficit here in the top lane from SKT Kuro, and honestly, you can't ask for much more. At the state that Mordekaiser is in right now, you just have to take that minor loss, and hopefully you can have a bigger impact once you get to that mid game. It's not so much about staying on par with the Mordekaiser at this point in the patch.
Exactly. It's doing your best just to try and keep him tame there. Like we were talking about in the draft, this is the one champion on this team you do not want to get that snowball going. Luckily, they do have a little bit of a snowball going for Medic down towards the bot side here. Knowing that support has been getting picked off a little bit with all the pressure that's been coming from the Nunu and the 2v2 pressure back and forth, but overall, trying to have that advantage despite also losing the first blood, over towards the Kai'Sa who just got a free kill. So managing to do a good job so far in this one, working towards that first item, trying to have that bot lane priority for this Infernal Drake, who again being cleared out as we see Nunu come down here, just to make sure that there isn't any kind of sneakiness going on. Anyone is not trying to steal it, sneak it away.
Yeah, interesting little tidbit of information as well. It's actually double tier from the marksman and mid laner for the side of Auburn. So maybe you don't even want to start looking at this Infernal Drake, just making sure it's not taken for the side of Stratosphere, and let those tiers stack up, build a couple more items, and utilize your CS leads in the bot lane to at least get ahead on a couple stats before you try a ballsy play like that Infernal Drake.
Exactly it. There's that dragon does do a little bit of damage towards your tank, so you really have to make sure you have the right lane priority, you have the picks in place to be able to actually secure it for yourself. Riftchild, however, will be spawning just roughly about 25 seconds, so that's also an objective that could get traded out if picks do happen to go down on one side of the map or the other here. But things certainly slowed down in the last 2 to 4 minutes. Looks like now we have a 2v2 engage on towards Marvel Potato, but he's not going to opt in for that grand entrance there. Just going to be able to soak up most of that damage. So looks like both the teams starting to play a little bit more cautious here, Switch, knowing that these wins, again, are so important here in towards the middle of the season.
Yeah, and you absolutely cannot lose pressure in lane when an Infernal Drake is on the table, because it's going to mean giving a lot of presence over to the river, which might just equate to the Elder Drake being started by the enemy team as well. So, like you said, both teams playing it safe, not taking too extended of a trade. Make sure that their HP pools are rather high. And speaking of the picks that we're hoping to come out around this Infernal Drake, I mean, we didn't even mention the Glacial Augment Morgana for the side of Stratosphere. It's honestly something that we don't see too often now, because Morgana has fallen a little bit down in terms of the tiers. I gotta stop it there, because that's actually going to be the Infernal Drake straight out started.
Off into the fight. Grand entrance will land out towards the back line there. Re-engaging for that. Here comes the Slicing Maelstrom looking to do all that AoE damage, but no one falling just yet. Flash comes through. That will be the first one falling. Carter no longer in the fight as they look for the chase. There's some killer instincts towards the back line to get away. They will be able to make it a 2-for-1 very quickly there as another one goes down. Hamlin able to play that one. And now that's going to be a 3-for-2, running them all down, looking to get themselves the ace here as the Mordekaiser is just dealing out the damage, has everything he needs to be effective, and now they're pinging around the turret. Looks like the binding is going to land.
Wow.
The Soul Shackle builder there as well, but that's going to be a trade as we have a crazy exchange down towards the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, you said it, Vision's absolutely nutty, and it was a trade basically 4-for-4, but in the end, the crucial parts of that team fight was actually a very efficient Slicing Maelstrom coming out from SKT Kuro. Did manage to get the side of Medic off the back of that fight, but the real story was Murdoch surviving, getting into the middle of the team, actually sent Nunu, I believe, to the death realm with him, and it picking up that kill as well, and snowballed the rest of the team fight. I mean, already you could see the amount of presence coming out of the Mordekaiser. It's really something that you have to deal with, because you cannot let him run rampant with his passive active.
Exactly it. And on top of all that, you know, the dragon wasn't even secured. So we had all those teleports used, all of those kills go down. And like you said, round 2 gets through. That's going to be over right in some trouble. He's going to get taken down, it looks like here. He will be slayed over towards the Kaisa, going for a little bit more as they have now invested another teleport. Binding will land on towards the Nautilus. Commissioner looks like he will fall next, and now that will be a 1-for-1. But it does appear that Stratosphere are still grouped around this dragon. Might look to get it, but instead looks like they're going to hold off for now.
Yeah, I mean, here's the key difference in terms of the macro play coming out from both teams. Looks like the side of Auburn actually sent SKT Kuro on the cannon back to the top lane, while on the other hand, it was sort of a mind game play, sending Murdoch back to the dragon, because they knew so much action was going to happen. In the end, this call is going to mean trading a bit of top tower damage in exchange for that Infernal Drake. Went over to the side of Stratosphere.
And that's the first big objective of game number 1 here that has been taken. Like you said, able to get themselves that, but it was in trade of a lot of experience and gold towards the top side. But I think Murdoch's, you know, pretty okay with giving that up. You get yourself the Infernal Dragon. You're going up towards the top lane here. You got your first item completed for yourself, sitting 3-0. Still have yourself a CS lead. So yeah, you might have missed a lot of that XP and gained over some of that turret plating here. Giving over, I guess, 4, which is actually quite a bit.
Yeah,
overall, he's still going to be feeling pretty good about staying in lane. He can still go toe-to-toe against Kuro up to the top side right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 3-0 with an Infernal Dragon in your pocket as well is going to mean he's going to have a good rest of the game. Murdoch has already been putting on a good performance, and what a bait coming out.
Well, yeah, let's see if it's going to pay off, though. That's going to be a lot of damage. Shutdown going to be secured there by Admirable Potato, as he's going to be able to get themselves stabbed. The Kaisa trying to bait the Zion towards that fight, the killer instinct behind, but it did not pay off, giving over a free kill.
And just a walk in straight up from Jadrian. And I suppose the patience coming out from Admirable Potato to not show himself until it was all but too late for Jadrian. That's going to be another kill over to the bot lane for Stratosphere against 3 damage on tower. And there's the snowball. Not going to impact, though.
finding it smart just yet, but Murdoch's just going to use that ultimate there on towards Alex, trying to see if he can find that kill. Can't use the Realm Orb to get himself out, but the Soul Shackles in towards River, looking for that first kill. Him that will go golden for second. Looking for that. This man is huge, looking for the autos, looking for the damage. Oh, now having to run away right on the chase, trying to find that stun, trying to get that slow there. Commissioner able to block a little bit of that engage, and now taking the hook out to safety will not be enough. He will be slain, but he is able to get his jungler and his top laner out there for now.
And Murdoch is just a steamroller at the moment. He's so tanky already with the Rylai's as well as a Ruby Crystal, and if you let him survive in these fights, he's going to be leading the charge. You have an amazing amount of chase potential as well for the side of Stratosphere. Coming in with the Skarner, with the Glacial Augment Morgana that they just snowball that team fight out of control. Rift Herald put down. That's going to be, I believe, in the top lane. So top lane tower already destroyed. You can see some mid tower damage. Just about going to seal that one up. So 2 towers, as well as those 2 kills in favor of the side of Stratosphere. All off the back of some fantastic play coming out from Murdoch on the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, phenomenal play so far towards this game as they try to send 3 members up there to make sure he does not go in towards that tier 2. And, you know, that kind of all comes back towards those plays that happened on the bot side. You know, winning themselves, you know, a team fight and then getting themselves a pick, got themselves the Infernal Dragon. Murdoch then moves towards the top side. They play around him and they knock down 2 turrets. 1 in the mid lane, 1 in towards the top lane. It looks like they got 1 in the bot lane too. So that is just such a big shift of gold going over towards your team. That's got to feel so good. And now they'll have to see where they try and target and access. There are just 2 tier 2s up and they do not have access to that Baron just here yet.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's been blow for blow, and you could say the early game has been going a little bit evenly for both sides. But at the same time, though, you have a fantastic start to the game if you are Stratosphere. 4 kills on Murdoch. Piloting that Mordekaiser already spells good things. We outlined in the pregame. I think the only thing we're really missing right now is a little bit more gold in the hands of Medic on the Xayah. That's all you really need to make this composition really start working out. You don't need it in the mid, you don't need it in the jungle. They're really just utility to start those team fights. And hopefully it ends with the damage coming out from both Murdoch and Medic. So we'll have to see if they're able to feed more gold onto the Xayah, if they're able to keep more Murdoch safe, not get shut down yet, because he's holding 400 gold, potentially able to go to the other side for Auburn University. And for Auburn, although you do have your Kai'Sa ahead, a lot of that gold is really towards that bot side that you really don't need. Here we go, Predator.
Yeah, Predator was used there to slows, keeping him at bay, but Hamlet there, able to cut him off, will force that flash out there. So nice flash coming out from the Noonan, make sure he does not get hit by that Impale, as that certainly probably would have led towards the kill with the chain CC from the Mortar.
And just straight up off the pressure, off of popping Predators, you're able to blow another flash on the side of Auburn University. That one from Amstard as a nice push coming into the bot side. It's going to be the demolish, but not too much damage, as it might come the engage.
Woo! Need to pull that trigger, just going wide there. Holding on towards that dredge line, but yeah, like you said, Snowball coming through, not going to find its mark. Now Bonnie going to land is there, turning the tide, able to find the double knock up there. Flashing Maelstrom coming down on top of the Nunu ultimate, trying to find the kills. Girl trying to get himself away as they're on the chase, on the hunt yet again. Looking for the kills. Murdoch is here. Looking for the kills, but we are going to get a double coming through for Jaden, trying to see if he can get anything more, but the hammer is just going to send them 6 feet under as they come out with the 3 for 2.
And here's what we're talking about. The early game, the setup is really in the favor of Murdoch here. More damage coming out. Might just be another pick, but not quite enough. And you can definitely see the gold in Murdoch's pocket going to good use here. In the next team fight, they take advantage of that beautiful snare coming out from Hamlet. They capitalize off of it, and that might just be the second dragon, the Ocean at that, for the hands of Stratosphere. And on the other side, I mean, we outlined the JJ, and he's got a nice amount of gold. But first of all, if you get ultimate from the Mordekaiser, that isn't going to mean anything because you're going to lose the 1v1. Second of all, I would actually prefer the gold on a different member of the side of Auburn University, just because of the fact that gold on Kai'Sa isn't exactly going to let you extend the game, right? You probably want it onto a mage to bring that upfront damage. If anything, gold on Kai'Sa is going to make you have a better late game, going to make you spike earlier in terms of your item damage, but it's really not going to be able to extend this game, and definitely not with Murdoch on the table as well.
Yeah, exactly. This man, I'd be pretty scared if I was playing Summoner's Rift against a huge top laner holding that mace there, running down and sending me in towards the death realm. Becomes very difficult to deal with here as he's now hit that second item. They're going to see that Scuttle Crab at least secured. Looks like he's going to be able to get himself out to safety here. And now with 30 seconds coming up towards the Baron, this is where it's all going to be around, playing around this Baron here, setting up the correct vision. And they have so many different tools to keep forcing these picks, forcing them to face check in towards their jungle with the Skarner, with the Morgana. So things are certainly looking really good as they just have so much follow-up engaged onto any of those members that Overstrike.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about this composition when we look at how it works in tandem with Murdoch. I mean, Murdoch doesn't even have to frontline at this point. You can see him a lot of the fights just in the mid line, waiting for the engage to come out. Then he's able to move forward. He hasn't taken any prior damage, so he's going to be full HP, moving into the enemy team off of his own engage, and it spells great things. It's a great setup overall, and you got to wonder, what is the right setup now for the side of Auburn? Because it's not easy to get damage onto Murdoch. Here's a little bit of an attempt, but it's replied by a binding.
Oh, the flank in the backside is Murdoch. He's going to be able to help Medic secure the first one. Looks like the second one will fall there over to Overrate as they take down the third. They walk in towards the red quadrant jungle. They tell them that this is our jungle. They find 3 picks, and now they're heading for the Baron Nashor.
And it feels like Ansgard was looking for a pick, but in the end, he was the prey himself as a beautiful collapse came out for the side of Stratosphere. Like you said, Visions 3-0, and that's going to mean the Baron absolutely going to go in favor of them. And we might just see a Void Seeker coming out for the side of Jadrian on the Kai'Sa, but I don't think that's going to be enough. And that's 21-minute Baron. Stratosphere have gained control of this game, and they're in the lead.
They are in the lead here, and this is looking like a very difficult game. If you are the side of Auburn University, you got to try and gather together, try and see if you can find that perfect team fight, but front to back does not seem to be working when these Mordekaiser is just running in towards the back line and finding these kills. It's very difficult to deal with at this point in time as they're just looking to get over the buffs, and now the last few resets should be coming out there from the ADC and jungle so that they can get out towards the map, and we can expect them to potentially break open the base. If not, they still have a ton of tier 2s to take around the map, and they have themselves over a 3,000 gold lead here, so I have to see what they're going to be able to amount this to at the end of this Baron power play.
One of the skills that we really theory crafted when we first saw the kid of Mordekaiser was, this guy actually sounds like a pretty good split pusher. If you get responded to by more than one person, you can actually just ultimate the first person that comes to you. They're in the death realm with you. Hopefully you win that 1v1 and you can carry over that damage. You can already see 3 men into the bot lane, just answering Murdoch. That's going to mean an opening.
QSS there, and because of that QSS coming out means that he was not able to find the solo kill, but they're able to take advantage of the mid lane. The Nunu will go down for the time being, so it is a 1-for-1, and they have the Baron pushing in towards that mid lane.
And there you go. Smart buys do mean that a pick is secured for the side of Auburn, but their base, their mid lane is burning. The tower goes down for the inhibitor, just the bare inhibitor left, and are we going to see an engage here?
4v4, the Nunu will be able to enter the fight first as they just want to take this inhibitor, then get themselves out. And it looks like they're going to be able to do just that. None of the waves are exactly set up for them to keep on pushing, but I have to see if they're going to just opt in for that reset. Looks like they're going to take some vision on their way out, and now they are going to try and get that reset off. Medic, though, is going to have to make sure that his jungle does not reset as he was getting collapsed on. Now they're safe, getting in for that reset. We also have another Infernal Dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
Yeah, another Infernal Dragon, and with the way these team fights have been going, I don't know if we've ever seen a response really come out for the side of Auburn in regards to the Mordekaiser. I mean, he's basically been untouched. He's been building tankier and tankier as the game has gone on. Started out with a Rylai's, now has a Spirit Visage, as well as going towards that Liandry's Torment. That's going to be in a lot of HP. You've got the shield as well in case you're in a pickle. And so it's just really, you're going to have to expect remarkable play coming out for the side of Auburn if they want to win this fight over the Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, it's going to take a big slicing maelstrom flank, like you're saying. They have to be able to find it. They do have a lot of QSSs. You know, when you use those QSSs just for that impale, then again, you have to worry about using it correctly to make sure that Murdoch doesn't lock you down in towards that death realm. So 2 very big times to be able to use that item here. But it looks like they are not going for the contest. I think this is a smarter play. You don't want to throw away the game just yet. You want to catch them potentially over diving when you have the advantage underneath one of your turrets. But they are looking for the bot lane here, and they have a big wave following it up.
That's probably just going to be in the bot lane. Given over, you have the mid inhibitor that's going to be soon flooded by super minions, so you can go for a split push if you want to, but it looks like they're just going to go 5-man strong. And it was very telling that the side of Auburn did not want to fight that front-to-back 5-man at the Dragon. I mean, didn't even approach it in the end, did not contest it, gave over the second Infernal. Now with 2 Infernals in the pocket, it's going to be even less of an incentive to fight the 5-man 5v5. A little bit of pokey by Ansgard.
Has to use that flash there out of respect from the binding and followed up TC. Now another binding will land. They're going forward. Impale's going to be used there, looking to burst that target. Medic will find the rise, and now Crows in the backside. The Slice Maelstrom is not enough. They're still going forward. Featherstorm will be used there to call it back. They're just finding everyone. They find themselves 4. Triple Go coming out there for Medic as he just runs over all the members. They find the ace in the end with the shutdown going over towards Operation. And now with that being said, Twitch, that will definitely be game number 1.
And that was just an absolutely clean fight, clean team fight. Probably the best attempt I saw for the side of Osborne. But in the end, they just could not hang with the strength of Mordekaiser. That's going to mean game 1, like you said, Visions, going over for the side of Stratosphere. They have got to do something about this Mordekaiser guy. He's pretty strong.
He's a little strong, I think. He's certainly doing a lot of damage. I'm kind of scared to even look at those charts. I mean, he was just all over the map from that TP play that ended up going through for them, finding that 4 kills. I think it was a 4 for 4. And then from there, it just led from the Infernal Dragon to one objective after the other. So much gold funneling in at once when they took down all 3 tier 1s. And that's what kind of just led towards that snowball and just led to them really running over that game.
That's the thing. You saw a relatively good early game coming out from Osborne University in the very early. It was 0-3 at some point. But you think about the Rift Herald into the top lane. That gave all of that plating gold over to the side of Murdoch on the Mordekaiser. The mid tower going down as well. And the Infernal Drake secure. I think really cemented the fact that the rest of this game is going to be Stratosphere having an insanely good team fight. They have all the pieces working for them. And it was just, you saw some great responses for the side of Auburn, but it just was not at the right time. That last team fight was probably the best one, and I would have appreciated to see it probably 10 minutes ago.
Exactly, right? Pulling that trigger a little bit sooner, potentially around that Baron when they had all 5 of their members there rather than getting picked off and then giving up that Baron Nashor, which was, again, kind of put that last nail in towards the coffin. And what led to Auburn University, unfortunately, just falling short there. But that is only game number 1. They still have that opportunity to go back and look over the draft. I think, the Murdoch there on towards that Mordekaiser might be pinched. I would love to see that taken away or maybe picked if one of their solo laners are able to play that for themselves. But regardless, we're going to have to see what they will change in towards game number 2. For now, we're going to be starting up and getting ready for that next game. So make sure you guys do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we jump into game number 2 here for the Upsurge Contenders League, where again, the Stratosphere taking on Auburn University. If you are just tuning in, well, Stratosphere that came out on top in a pretty dominant win, mainly due to that Mordekaiser. But now we're jumping into phase number 2 here, Switch. I have to see what they're going to do to change things up.
And Visions, you know what I want to see? Just press the M button. Just go ahead, click, ban that Mordecai, please. Just get him out of here. I don't want to see him. But at the same time, though, you do have first pick for the side of Auburn. So we'll have to see what that last ban is. The other bans, though, they're pretty much what we've been seeing so far. So no surprises there.
Yeah, it seems like similar in the sense of last game where there was a lot of pinching around the junglers as Casey waiting on that last pick. It looks like it is going to be the Talia. So no Mordekaiser ban is going to come through, which means that they do have the option to pick it, but it looks like it is actually going to be banned away this time around to make sure that they are not going to be able to grab that for themselves.
I was going to say, you have a decision to make. If you are the side of Stratosphere, you could say, okay, I don't think you can play a composition revolving around Mordekaiser, or we have an answer to Mordekaiser, therefore I won't ban it. In this case, though, Auburn saying, no, yeah, that champ's busted, so get him off the table. That's going to be the first pick Thresh for the side of Auburn. And we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be the return of the Morgana. Worked quite well, I would say. You just basically farmed up in that early laning phase, got your super soaker, and then went to town in terms of the picks, set it up for your Mordekaiser. This time with no Mordekaiser, though, but at the same time, that utility mid is quite impactful. Along with that Sivir, she's been having a ball this patch, I would say. Pretty much top 2 80 carries, Jinx being the other, but Jinx being banned out. So just about the best marksman you can get on the table right now, geared for the side of Stratosphere.
Yeah, exactly. You want to pick them up here in the first phases. There's already been a little bit of a pinch towards those 80 carries down towards the bot side, and looks like there is going to be that response on the other side of things. So they're going to grab themselves the Lucian and Thresh this time around to see if they're going to be able to go to toe-to-toe with Medic and Admirable Potato once again down towards the bot side.
Yeah, and here's a smart thing for the side of Stratosphere by picking the Morgana. It's actually a flex. You can go ahead and run that in the bot lane, and that will absolutely keep the Sivir safe from any hooks, any engages coming out. You could run it, could also run it in the mid, but either way, the Lucian definitely screams kill lane. I want to get ahead. I want to utilize all my front-loaded damage to get pressure in lane and hopefully take those advantages onto the rest of the map, onto the rest of the game. We'll have to see if that shakes out. Jarvan going to be the jungler actually secured for the side of Auburn. A very solid jungler in my opinion. Gets that early pressure as well as some nice early ganking, transitions into a great engage tank as well. If you get ahead, you can go ahead and buy that lethality. So tons of options. He's very versatile, and it's not a one-dimensional playstyle. So nice to see him picked up. Lee Sin going to be the response for the side of Stratosphere.
Trying to grab that Lee Sin, and remember, both of these junglers last time were playing the Skarner and the Nunu. Pretty utility heavy junglers that are just looking to set up your carries and set up the team. This time around, they're looking to go more towards that driver's seat, see if they can find those kills for themselves and carry the game. So big changes, but we're jumping into phase 2 bans, and we can already see that the Ari has been taken off the table, as well as that Nico yet again here for game number 2.
And I'd love to see what exactly the mid lane pick is going to be for the side of Auburn. Just didn't really feel that rise too much, and the game was over before you could really scale up. I don't know if you want to go that route again. Rise is great, but if the game is decided he pretty much does nothing for you, I think his wave clear, especially when you're dealing with super minions, is pretty subpar, and there's a lot of other mid picks on the table at the moment. Going to be the last ban being Shen from the side of Auburn as we get to the next pick phase, and you can either pick those solo laners, or you can pick your support here for the side of Stratosphere. And I could see an Enchanter coming down there. If you really want to go toe-to-toe with the Lucian Thresh, go ahead and pick a Karma if you want.
Yeah, looks like they might grab that Orianna in towards that mid lane for themselves here. So they're going to save that top lane pick. And that means that that Morgana should be going down towards that bot side there with the Sivir. Like you already mentioned earlier, Switch, a very safe lane for that Sivir, having the double spell shield. Very difficult to be able to hook either one of those champions down there. So that is going to be extremely effective. Also have that option yet again to see if they can try and save that pick towards the top side as the Karma going to come through there.
Yeah, and that's going to be a solo lane Karma. We're gonna have to expect going mid, but it always has the potential of rearing its head top. I mean, thankfully the Tom Kench gonna bring me to peace so that we don't see a top lane Karma, because those are the stuff of nightmares. Not because of how good it is, but because of how frustrating it is to watch. It's gonna be the chase. Actually locked in for the top lane. There you have it, the Auburn lineup. Karma in the mid lane, Jace in the top lane, and uh, we do have to mention a bit of Karma. I mean, she's been performing fantastically after the buffs, primarily the movement speed duration buffed for her E. So the fact that you can move really quickly, I think it's like 40% movement speed for 2.5 seconds. It's actually really handy to have on either you or your allies. That last pick, hey, it's the flavor of the month. It's Poppy in the top lane, and she has an amazing laning phase. Goes ahead and transitions into a reliable tank, I would say, and especially against a composition with a lot of dashes, you have a good time keeping your backline safe, and that's really what it is. You've got the Orianna, you've got the Sivir, lots of AoE damage. So why not just make sure your top lane is as sturdy as can be, get your early game off to a nice start, and transition that into a really nice front-to-back team fighting composition for the side of Stratosphere.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, to touch on that top lane, we already said how good the Poppy really is. And, in towards that matchup, if Koro isn't able to get that snowball going for himself, and the Jace, does actually fall off or does fall behind if he doesn't get a lead
Yeah.
going. Where the Poppy, on the other hand, even if he does give up a death or two, he still is extremely effective. Still the front line, still that punching bag, for the rest of the team to beat up on while the Sivir is putting up the damage, while Hamlet's setting up that shockwave. So, have to see how that's really going to go. Murdoch obviously coming off of an amazing performance in game number 1 there on the Mordekaiser, looking to do it here again, but this time on the Poppy.
That's the thing. I think it's a great point that you mentioned, Visions. Poppy is not going to be, super sad if she dies once or twice in lane. I mean, sure, she does have a really nice lane phase, but she's not built to get solo kills. She's more built to keep your top laner, keep the opposite top laner down, get pressure in lane, hopefully use your heroic charge to get picks. And then obviously towards the mid to the late, the keeper's verdict and the steadfast presence as well are actually remarkable tools in team fights. You already have a fantastic team fighting composition coming out of the side of Stratosphere. So I would actually argue Jace is no longer a good blind pick because of how Poppy has been surfacing as a great response. I don't even think Poppy loses lane to Jace. We'll have to see how the play goes themselves in the top lane. Murdoch already sort of one-upping the side of SKT Curl just because he had Mordekaiser. He just, rolled a D20 and landed on 20 there. So either way, I think if you look on paper at the composition for Auburn, I think they just want to win every single lane early. I mean, Jace supposed to win lane early. Karma, you really are supposed to win lane early because you don't scale remarkably. You more just become like a utility tool as time goes on. You're not really some huge DPS mid lane carry. And Lucian, of course, does not scale fantastically, especially when against a team composition like the side of Stratosphere. I think they have a lot of long range poke that is going to make Lucian's life very difficult. So either way, you want to get the ball rolling. You want to get out of the door swinging if you are the side of Auburn.
You absolutely do here, but we are just going to take this time to give a shout out to another one of our very important sponsors here at Upsurge. That is Kono. If you are looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals, from keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more. Our friends at Kono have got you guys covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best peripherals around. And they've also been a huge supporter here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. So if you are in need of a new keyboard or more for your setup, make sure you guys head over there. We cannot recommend anybody better. Again, that is KONO.store there. Head over to Kono now to get yourself some new setups, get yourself some new things. But overall, guys, we're going to be throwing to a short little break, so we'll be right back. Make sure you do not go anywhere for game number 2. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Contenders League, where we're jumping in to game number 2. If you are just tuning in, it was Stratosphere that came out on top there with a pretty dominating win. But now we're into game number 2, looking to see if they can close out the 2-0, or will it be Auburn University trying to force that game number 3 and get their second overall win here in towards the season. We'll have to see what they're going to do. Off the bat, though, they did get picked in towards that melee last game switch, so you can see them already playing a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, that's right, Visions. And I mean, on the back foot for the side of Auburn, that first game definitely did not go how they wanted to. Probably did not expect the Mordecais to have such a big impact. But we're in the second game, clean slate, and there's definitely been some shakeups. A fantastic early game, in my opinion, coming out for the side of Auburn. So the tools are in place. You just need to execute it properly. And you were mentioning it before, but you actually think they have a fantastic sieging composition.
You know what? I do like the siege if they get themselves ahead. It is very hard to get on a lot of these members. I know, specifically looking at the Lucian here. The siege is pretty good with the poke, but it's going to come down to how they're going to be able to execute. And again, getting the early snowballing leads. If the Jarvan can play well around some of these winning lanes and get these laners ahead, they might be able to do just that. But the same thing happens last game where they just get scrappy and they just get out macroed and, you know, beaten in some of these smaller skirmishes. Then we might just get a hot 2-0 on that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There definitely is the potential of a snowball for the side of Auburn. I mean, we've pretty much seen every single one of these lanes hard carry a game at some point, right? Jace, of course, you know, famously in the hands of really dominant top laners like Huni, just don't let you play the game. Oh, hang on a second. I didn't realize that was actually a flop. Why didn't you warn me?
I was waiting for you to go in. I thought you were going to notice it, that you were, you know, hyping it all up. But we did get a little bit of a swap there, which means that it's going to be a little bit more interesting for that Orianna. Just kind of that weaker laning phase. But there is no Ignite there on Koro, which means that there isn't going to be any kind of a crazy all-in level 3 or anything like that. We'll have to keep our eyes on what he's doing. However, Lee Sin looking to take some camps in towards that top side right now, going to that early invade.
Yup, the early invade coming out way ahead of that J4. He's going to be able to notice. My real question here, nice binding. I mean, some boomerang damage as well, but overall, you still got to favor the side of the Thresh.
Yeah, going for that all in there. Medic having to flash away. Admirable Potato might be the next one. They're able to land that binding. Maybe looking to turn things around with the autos there. Heals coming down. Flashing coming out. One more auto. Not gonna go through. That is going to be, again, just like game number 1. Lots of scraps. Lots of engaging. But now we have the junglers going toe-to-toe here. Back and forth. The Jarvan not have that blue buff, but she's going to be able to just barely get it. Having to force that flash there from himself. And another beautiful hook there with the death sentence. A lot of binding will follow it up. The auto's looking to come down towards the way. First blood coming through there. Can Jader get a double? He does, an illusion popping off early in this one.
There you go, the Jadrian Commissioner combo there. The hooks have been landing left and right, and it finally pays off, a 2-for-1. And the ADC sticking around is going to mean he can get a bit more CS in his pocket, and that's going to mean 18 CS, so 6 CS above, a 150 gold bounty as well. With the side of Jadrian, well played from the duo.
Excellent plays all around, where Murdoch's like, listen, I didn't sign up for this one, guys. I didn't think it was going to be Karma top, but he's going to have to do his best just to try and sustain out versus that Klepto currency Karma. It's going to be the Sonic Wave landing in towards the mid lane, but not going to follow that up, of course, right now. As Lee Sin has been doing a good job of taking away some small things there from the Jarvan. While that top side looks like he might be able to get himself a double scuttle as well here. So overall, you know, he hasn't found any kills necessarily or assists, but he has been doing a good job of shutting Asgard down in towards this early.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think Over has had a very quiet but profitable early game for himself. Like you said, stealing the buff, stealing the Grump as well, I believe. And still has his blue buff to go back towards whenever he needs to grab it. You can actually just let it sit there for a while so that when it finally does respawn again, it'll have a higher level. So some interesting play there. We'll have to see when he grabs it. But overall, the bot lane is still a bit of an issue. For the side of Stratosphere, they need to stay on par. Sorry, Auburn, because Lucian Bresh really starts to dictate the pace of the lane, and it becomes very hard to secure vision after that.
Yeah, It really does, and the bot lane should be screaming jungler galore right now. No summoners. There's also so much setup from both of these laners with the lantern to bring the Jarvan in, you know, for the death sentence to set it up, the binding on the opposite side of things, using the spell shield. Indigo aggressive. Like, there's so much that can be used towards the bot side, so we really would like to see him take advantage of those summoners moving down, but looks like he's going to set up the vision and to try and play safe for the meantime. Everyone has been farming pretty evenly for the most part, but the solo laners here have been farming a little bit better here for Stratosphere.
Oh, the lantern in!
There it is. That's the play I'm talking about. It looks like the Jarvan will be able to convert first, and now it's going to be a 3-0 on towards that Lucian. This is where things get scary. This is the
play this entire early game coming out of Commissioner. Another marvelous setup into a brain-dead easy gank. That's going to mean 1 kill as well as pressure. So the Ocean Drake and a very different early game coming out for the side of Auburn.
This looks like a total reset altogether for this team. Really just figuring out where things went wrong, able to kind of regain. And that Ocean Dragon is not only good this early, but it's so good on so many of these champions that are really spamming abilities. Lucian, you know, a huge one that always tends to go here. That's going to be a flash, actually, forced there from Murdoch there. That's a powered Q. Almost ended up finding him, but again, so many champions benefit from this Ocean Drake so early on. The Jace, the Karma that, you know, are poking, setting out constant abilities, they're gonna be able to stay relatively healthy in these lanes.
And the mana coming back is going to help you as well. I think the real problem with this top lane matchup is the fact that Alexer on the Karma has much better sustain than the Poppy. Not that the Poppy can't all in better, but the fact that he has no sustain. Here's a pick though.
Yeah, not expecting to find a Lucian Thresh come out of your jungle. That will be another kill going over a rampage right now for Jadrian. So he's sitting so comfortable on this Lucian right now. He's getting so ahead in towards this lane. It's going to get so scary when we get towards this lane.
And Admirable Potato did not expect to find the enemy dual lane at his own blue buff. Pretty much at the ramp of that. So again, a nice pick. You're seeing some great play come out with the advantages from Jadrian and Commissioner. Had a relatively solid game last time as well, but just could not pick up the win. But this game, it's a totally different story.
It really is, and you know, we had a chance to talk about during the draft. I'm gonna have to hold that thought. SKT Toro able to flash towards his turret there. The Dragon Rage not gonna throw him back, but it doesn't matter. The damage is in. The damage will find that kill. Hamlin able to pick up his first one of the game.
Yeah, nice sneaky shockwave means the beginning of that gank, and Over8 goes ahead and ends it with the dragon kick into some nice auto attacks. So solid gank overall. Like we said, very quiet, but solid early game for himself. The problem is, I think the bot lane is just having a lot more pressure for the side of Auburn, and it's going to be tough to match that once you get into those mid-game skirmishes.
Will be a little more difficult. Looks like Keeper's Verdict was used there. I don't think it found the mark, but now you are in some trouble. The only thing he needs the Cataclysm. He does not. Alex able to clean up his first one now. It's Jarvan doing a good job of getting his laners ahead in towards this game right now. So finding picks all over the map, and now all of his lanes are pretty much snowballing except for that Jason towards the mid lane.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And this is why Jarvan is a fantastic pick. Hang on.
That's going to be a little bit of trouble there. Over8 going for the Warthog.
Oh, no.
That Sonic Wave looks like he's going to let Alex get out as play towards the bot side. Not able to follow anything up there with that Black Shield coming into play, but just barely escaping the top side there was Alex.
And I got to follow up with you. Ansgard having a fantastic early game, and this is the power of the Jace. You don't have to go all in on a pick like the Lee Sin and just bring everything to the table. You can actually just have a solid early game with the Jarvan. He scales much better in my opinion as well, and it's a little bit easier to execute, I would say. I mean, flag drag into Cataclysm doesn't take a real genius, doesn't take 200 IQ to pull that one off like we have seen those insect kicks.
Exactly it. As Scar towards the river, but you're getting spotted out into the Shockwave, able to find the first one. The Dragon Rage is perfect, because that will now be 3 kills sitting on towards Hamlet, but here comes Lucian. Adrian going a little bit aggressive there. Sonic Wave will prevent him from going in just yet, as now they are getting converged on in the 4v2, looking for the on the hunt to be used there by Medic. Another Sonic Wave will land. That will be the flash force there from Jadrian. That's a follow-up flash. The heal's going to come through with a call and looking to escape there. Has him under the turret. Medic might go down, barely surviving. The Ignite is ticking down there, and that will be a 4th kill going over towards Hamlet, taking control of that lead yet again.
Yeah, the aggression coming out for the side of Stratosphere. They reply with, I believe, 3 quick kills, but either way, just marvelous play coming from them. It's going to even up the kills and a little bit ahead on goal, but here's admirable Potato. Big caught out.
Able to dodge the flag and drag there, but you cannot get your way out of the Cataclysm without the flash, unfortunately. So still will be another kill going over on the back end of that play to try and keep things relatively even.
Yeah, and as we get closer and closer to this dragon, you really got to wonder who's going to come out ahead in terms of the mana advantage, in terms of that early strength to be able to secure the Infernal. The most important, debatably, dragon of the game at the moment is going to be coming in around 30 seconds. So let's see who can scoop that one up. And hey, the story of this top lane Visions has just been the side of Alex are just bullying Murdoch. I think Karma has really come back around, pun intended, by the way, after Murdoch's fantastic Mordekaiser game. I mean, he's just being put through the ringer this time around. The Poppy versus Karma, not so happy.
No, probably not too happy about this one. Just constantly getting rooted up, constantly getting poked down here, waiting for a laning phase to end as soon as possible. You know, he wants that bot lane turret to go down so we can make that lane swap happen and get them ahead. But I see a pick in towards the river there, looking for that shot. Don't find it. Koro into trouble. Here comes a follow-up engage. Now this could be a trade kill potentially. The Soul Shackles are down, looking to lay down that TC, and Asgard's up trouble. They find themselves a 2-for-0. Maybe looking for 3. The 2v3 completely turned around, trying to take the death sentence out to the dragon. Will not go through, and now Medic will find himself a big kill as they take down 4, and the Infernal Dragon looking like it will be the reward.
And Vicious, what happened to the early game lead coming out for the side of Auburn? I mean, it's just all but dissipated at this point. That's the Infernal Drake as well. A very solid fight. And a very solid pickup of dragons coming in for the side of Stratosphere. They're right back into this game.
Yeah, what we said was going to be a very strong mid-game there for Auburn University. Quickly changed the tides and made it seem like another game number 1 here. Yeah. They are already sieging in towards the mid lane at the moment. They just have, you know, such a good, strong composition to be able to play around in Oriana here with a great delivery system from your top laner. 6-0 right now for Hamlet. After playing utility in the last game, now he's showing us that he can still play that carry role and he can step it up big for his team.
Yeah, and that's the exact story of this series so far. It's been extremely early game. Goes in the favor of Auburn. They look great. They drop a couple of kills due to picks around that dragon, crucially. And that also lets Stratosphere, first of all, secure the picks, but also secure the dragons. The second game, they get an early Infernal Drake, and it doesn't get uphill for the side of Auburn from here. I mean, Karma, Jace, Lucian, they all get outscaled eventually by their counterparts, and really got to wonder if it was the right idea to go all in on this early game in terms of the pick and ban phase. We'll have to see if Auburn can really come back into the mid game once we get to it, really find their stride, because if they keep going like this, if they keep losing their lead, it really does not get better for them.
No, it certainly does not here, as it gets so difficult time and time again to play against a late game Saber. You said it in the draft phase there, Switch. You said, you know, how Saber has been one of those picks that has just been raising in popularity. It's just such a strong pick in towards the bot side. Offers you wave clear, offers you this, but we're going to see a Lantern play. Pulling the Lucian in. Adrian might be able to clean up a kill. They do, so able to find a nice pick. Still playing pretty proactive here is Commissioner. Able to find another one there on towards Admirable Potato.
Poor Potato. Already hands of 5 deaths in 14-minute game is just a hard knocks life for the support at the moment. The Rims Herald started for the side of Stratosphere, up TP expended as well to make sure that there is no contest happening here. That's going to mean, once again, a Rift Herald for the side of Stratosphere, and you love this proactive play. I mean, they're controlling the bot side, they're seemingly controlling the top side because of the Rift Herald take as well, and they're just not phased by this early game composition coming out for the side of Auburn. They're playing with their strengths, with their pick potential, and it's really working wonders for them. It's paying off in dividends. That's going to mean the mid tower as well, just off of pressure right there. By the way,
go ahead.
By the way, that's without Rift Herald. It's still in Oriana's pocket.
That's true. You know, they have still so many turrets to be able to take. That was the first one going down, and now Murdoch looking for that play in the top side here. Seeing if they can get Alex. That's going to be a big engage. Beautiful Dragon Raid in towards the Sonic Wave. The perfect execution coming here for the Lee Sin. And now with another pick, they're going to drop that Rift Herald. Looking for that play in the top side.
Yeah, there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. The Lee Sin gang comes through, and that's going to mean as well the tower that we talked about really is what the Rift Herald garners you. And one tower down, Rift Herald still at a healthy 2/3 HP is going to mean a nice impact on the second tower here. Ooh, nice hook.
Good hook there. Sentences have really been on par, on point there for Commissioner, but will be enough to stop us from going to the tier 2. Have to watch that shockwave. The ball positioning is so important to pay attention to, especially when those fights start to break out. They're still going for it there, but Commissioner's able to walk up and zone them away. Adrian taking quite a bit of chip damage. Not wave gonna land on towards them, but the first one falls. A 3-man Cataclysm looking for the plays. You have to flash away. Groove comes down. That will be Oriana living with a sliver of health, but a nice play coming through there for Jarvan, able to get a shutdown.
Oh, Kuro.
Going through there, looking for more. That will be the engage. They're able to find himself a nice play, but now he has been knocked back. Looking for the ward hop. Trying to get himself out. I believe he has to dodge one more shock blast here with the empowered E. Has to look to dodge it. He does not. The shutdowns coming through all over the place in the top side.
There you go. The sniper Kuro ending up making that exchange 4 for 2 in favor of the side of Auburn. And it's a nice response after losing so much gold in that top lane push. Overall, it's still 2-1 in terms of towers, and that's the response coming out from Commissioner in the bot lane. So no third tower scooped up for the side of Stratosphere. This next dragon, though, it's coming in 5 seconds. It's going to be another Infernal Visions, and I don't know if the side of Auburn are really positioned to contest this.
Doesn't look like it, but they are trying to run over here as quick
Oh,
as
okay.
possible.
I underestimated overrate not being there as well. I forgot.
They're dropping some vision. The flag will be able to give them enough information. No, they are not on it. So you can see both top laners are making their way over here as well. Coral barely just missing that binding there, touching the edge of his heel. They are just posturing in towards the river. Looks like they are going to go for the mid-lane priority as the binding will land on the Commissioner. Death Sentence will go wide. Watch for that ball delivery. Murdoch does have that ball on him right now. The dragon has been started, sitting at about 3k HP. Looking to burst it. It will reset. Now Commissioner looking for that hook. He'll be able to land one, but the Keeper's Verdict will knock him away. And now the dragon has been secured. Doesn't look like they're opting for the fight, but the shockwave will chunk the carries. That will be the engage there from Angar. He goes golden for a second, but look at that kick play in the back. Lee Sin looking to do it all. Will secure his team 2 kills, looking to make it 3. Murdoch able to shut down Koro. That will be 3 quick kills and the Infernal Dragon.
And it's just so smartly played for the side of Stratosphere. They control the dragon. They control the team fight as well. Sick play coming out from Overate means that Kuro spends most of his time that team fight just walking, just trying to get back into a better position. You had a beautiful shockwave to prep all that damage, and in the end, it's going to be a lot of pressure given over to the side of Stratosphere. They're at a 2 Infernal lead as well, so you know they're going to scale even better than they do on paper. And all the cards are really going in their favor now. I thought that that dragon was going to be really pivotal, and it looks like you can decisively say that now the side of Stratosphere are really poised to start controlling this game.
They really, really are here, and not only do they have 2 Infernals, but we've got a 3rd Infernal Dragon coming up here in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So that is going to be that much more of a contest here for both these teams. And you know, we talked about how they are getting outscaled currently right now. They are fighting to keep themselves in it. Commissioner doing an excellent job of kind of being that saving grace, looking for those hooks, looking for those setups for his team here as they're looking to get themselves to tier 1 now. The rest of the team looking to back them up, not finding any kind of crowd control at the moment. So it's like everyone going to go towards those side lanes, set up around the waves here again, and we do have that Baron spawning in 30 seconds.
Yeah, like you said, Baron 30 seconds, and the control definitely in the favor of Stratosphere at the moment. It's going to take some really smart play from the side of Auburn to really start to secure vision, to really start to be aware of when that Baron is started, and be ready to punish it, as binding is going to be in a nice little chunk onto Ansgard. Here's Overrate.
Yes, there it is again. We've seen it here time and time again this game. He's just perfect at doing it, and you know that's really all you have to do. You just got to get that quick ward hop in, get that Dragon Rage off, and follow it up with the Sonic Wave. And Just push him right towards the team.
Another.
Again, flash there from Commissioner to get himself out of that shockwave. And now they're posturing over towards the Baron.
And here's the real problem that I have, Visions. That pick from Overrate took like a total of 10 seconds to really, orchestrate overall. The Baron, it's halfway done. There's a culling, just a chunk out of it. A miss on the Inspire, or the Mancha Q. And here we go.
No jungler, but Jadrian's in some trouble there. Has to run away. Redemption will come down, heal him back up there. Knocker's coming into the Baron, looking for that medic coming pretty low towards the pit here. 600 HP will be secured, and now they're looking for the fight, turning for it. They have the man advantage going forward. Murdoch taking up the team. Has no one to back him up just yet. The Ignite sticking down. They're trying to escape, but the death sentence will do just that. That will be the first death going down. Shutdown will go over towards Alex as they get themselves out with the Baron only at the cost of Murdoch.
Yeah, the pick onto Murdoch, just a consolation prize for the side of Auburn. Other than that, they are going to start bleeding very soon. Baron buff in the hands of Stratosphere. They've been playing intelligently this entire series. Might just be another pick onto Ansgard.
Oh, barely making it out there. The death sentence.
No.
Secured, but he has to dodge one more Sonic Wave. Decides to go onto Commissioner, but he's able to read the play correctly, and that was pretty big. That Guardian Angel will still stay up there for Engar, so that's going to be big for him to make sure that does not get popped, as he needs to be that engaged, that effective member in the backline. And those 2.5 seconds on that Guardian Angel buy you quite a bit and set you up for that re-engage after you come back out.
That was really the problem this entire mid game. I think it's just way too easy for the side of Stratosphere to make picks. That last one, they made the pick onto Ansgard, the jungler, and that just almost secures you Smite on the Baron. They were strong enough to withstand the poke as well from the side of Auburn, and that meant the Baron, once again, in their hands at the moment. Overrate playing fantastically and just leading the charge in terms of picks on the enemy team.
Yes, and you can see them setting up towards this Infernal right now. The third one spawning in 30 seconds. You know the side of Auburn University do not want to give this one over, and you cannot blame them. Triple Infernal is just so devastating to play against. You have Hamlet, who's sitting almost on 3 items. That depth gap coming in very soon for him. The rest of the team getting to that point where they are going to be dealing quite a bit of damage here. Looking at that Sivir, as the box was just used, so it's gonna be a pretty big cooldown from Commissioner, and that Dragon he's gonna be spawning in 5 seconds, as they are all just waiting to pounce on one another.
And they have to be careful here, though. The nice steadfast presence is gonna be a slowdown, and the beautiful damage coming out of Hamlet. The forces out the redemption. Now, Infernal Drake still on the table, but the push in the bot lane coming out from Stratosphere means that you are putting Auburn on the back foot here. Looks like it's going to be a response in the mid, but that's not going to be enough because Baron is in the hands of Stratosphere. The push continuing in the bot lane on the inhibitor towers as well. Demolish going to come very soon, and we need to see a response coming out of Auburn.
Yeah, and this is so perfect. Going for the kick flash, but actually messes up the animation there. Going for the re-engage, not able to find Jadrian. This is just perfection play coming through right now as they get themselves the out-rotation. Jarvan's just going to dive in there. The GA has been popped. There are a few members stuck in the guys, but no one can follow it up. And now Hamlet able to get himself the 9th kill of the game, as Murdoch going to soak up most of that calling for his team. It's a 4v5 advantage. The Baron's still live and active here. If you are on the side of red team here, looking for that engage, seeing if they can go any more. Looks like they're going to posture away for now, but Alex is going to walk himself up there. Now he's going to get blinded. Now this might be another click. Looking for the turn. They find themselves 2. And this is not looking good here if you're Auburn University. This is getting very difficult. You're getting picked one after the other, and they're finally going to back away and set up for that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and the side of Stratosphere is just playing this to a T. I mean, obviously, it was some weird macro play coming out. Not the worst idea coming out of Auburn, because that is sort of one of the basics of getting Dragon, right? It is getting that mid control, but at the same time, you're absolutely going to be losing the push in the bot lane just because of the fact that you did not calculate for the Baron buff. In that bot lane, the push was winning, so you really run out of options for the side of Auburn. They come back a little bit too late, and it's just been clean played the entire time. You've got Overrate, Hamlet, and Admirable Potato just making absolutely fantastic setups for the rest of the team. You could see in that last pick, I mean, queuing up the Keeper's Verdict as well just meant that there was no way to win the team fight for the side of Auburn, and at this point, I think you've just got to try and make Hail Mary picks right? You've just got to get mana advantages, try and stall out this last push, and hopefully scale up to get more items to perhaps find more opportunities. It just does not get better. Overrates.
I'm pretty sure we've seen this before.
Beautiful.
Interrupts it. Not able to hit the Sonic Wave, but it doesn't matter. Hamlet there just deleted him, sent him into the abyss with that combo here. 10-1 has the 3 item spike with the death cap, and now looking to see if they can get themselves 2. They're getting picked off one after the other, not even team fighting switch. They're just getting blown to pieces, and now they're looking for more on the top side.
Yeah, absolutely blown out of the water. That tier 2 top tower taken out, just the inhibitor tower now left in terms of top lane. And while Baron is no longer on the table, it still does not look any better for the side of Auburn. Here comes the dive.
Looking to end it here now, looking on the Commissioner, trying to get himself away, still taking up the turret, but it doesn't matter. They found one, looking for 2. Cargo gets hit there with the Sonic Wave. In towards the backside, Hamlet finds himself the 11th. They take down another one. 4 members falling total. They're just starting to come back up, but they're looking to end it here now. Only one more Nexus turret remains. Looking for that play. I don't think there's anything they can do. They're just going to go in for one more, seeing if they can add towards that KDA. Alex trying to get away, and he will. But the Nexus falls to a weak, going over to Stratosphere as they come out on top looking hot.
Yes, Stratosphere, once they enter that mid game, they seem to have all the right answers to whatever the side of Auburn could throw at them. They have fantastic control over the dragon, over those neutral objectives as well, and the pick potential. They just utilize their composition so well, seem to always have the upper hand in terms of team fights because of their fantastic setup. And they end up taking the series solidly, a 2-0 victory. And past that 15-minute mark, never really looked like they were in the backseat.
They really did not. I mean, there was that moment where Jadrian was 4-0 and things are like, okay, maybe they have something going for themselves down towards that bot side, but they were quick to give it away. With it just seemed like overall some kind of miscommunication, or something along the lines of just missing chemistry, because they weren't fighting, they weren't playing together, they weren't on the same page. They kind of just went in one after the other, and we all know that is the worst thing that can happen in solo queue when you got no communication. Everyone just starts piling in one after the other, trying to clean up the team fight, trying to clean up the plays. And in the end, it just was the side of Stratosphere that came out on top there with some of the superior laning, some of the superior lanes coming through there, able to find themselves the ganks. And once they take one objective, they just led towards the next one after the other, and did an excellent job of really just snowballing both of those games.
It was intelligent, cohesive play coming out from the side of Stratosphere, but I think we also got to take some attention towards the pick and ban. As much as I hate to say it, it's not necessarily that the side of Auburn had a bad pick and ban. It's just the fact that they got outdrafted every single game, that being 2 games, of course. I mean, the Mordekaiser in the first game sort of felt like a huge oversight, right? When you're coming into this patch, there are a couple picks that you need to keep in mind. One of them, of course, being the Mordekaiser. He sort of dictates what you can run in the top lane. It was picked up first pick. You had a nice composition going around it for the side of Stratosphere, and they played it well. And in the second game, this composition coming out of Auburn sort of feels very dated to me, right? If you asked me like 3 months ago if this composition was good, bar the karma in the mid lane, I would have said, yeah, that could definitely work. But this is a completely different meta. I mean, the fact that Poppy has sort of surfaced herself and is a response to these kill lane top lanes like the Jace. You had to swap the Karma into the top. That was going okay for you, but at the same time, no lane really won, right? You had the duo like kill lane in the bot lane for JJ and Commissioner on the Lucian and Thresh, but the response of Sivir and Morgana just meant that nothing could happen. You just sat tight until Overrate decided to bounce into your lane, got you some kills, and when it really came to that mid game, you could tell who was in the driving seat in terms of those 5v5 front to back team fights. It was always the Shockwaves. It was always Overrate and Admirable Potato making those picks, making it happen, and getting the advantages in the team fights as well. Overall, pretty strong laning phases, actually, surprisingly, coming out from the side of Auburn. But I think really when they got to that mid game, it just did not go well for them. They just were not proactive enough, and they didn't have the right responses.
They really did not have the right responses. That was probably one of the biggest things, is they really just weren't playing together. I think that's what it came down to. They had a 4-0 lead on Jadrian and like a 1 to 2K lead overall in gold. Like
Yeah.
they were sitting pretty comfortable. And when you have a Lucian, who's sitting on an early Bork where the Sivir, it doesn't even have, a second core item built towards that Essence Reaver. That has just got to tell you that, this is where we start dominating the lane. We just got to play around the bot side. But again, they just got picked out one after the other there. And, they're going to have to go back and figure out what is not working for them and, how to change up
Yeah.
some of their drafts in the teams, because now they're sitting, I believe, 1-4 after that loss there tonight. They only have 2 wins on the board the entire season here. So they're going to have to try and change some things up, if they want any chance at, trying to fight towards that playoff spot.
I mean, honestly, they have some fantastic pieces in
Mm-hmm.
their team composition. I mean,
Certainly.
or in their team rather. I mean, JJ and Commissioner looked like a surprisingly strong bot lane. They performed well with their lead. Actually, it's just at some point you start losing team fights, you start bleeding pressure across the map, and you can no longer play your Lucian Thresh properly. I thought SKT Kuro looked reasonably good. Seemed to have a versatile champion pool. Obviously, didn't really work out this series, but Ansgard also had sturdy play as a jungler. Just could not bring the victory. But overall, you have some strong pieces. If you recall, the laning phases worked out quite well for the side of Auburn. It's just you're missing that cohesion, you're missing that team play, and you're missing a good draft for yourself as well. So as long as they can fix up those parts of their game, I think that they do have a very good future coming ahead.
I would agree with you. I think that they certainly do. It's just all about making those changes and making sure they are effective, and then of course putting them in towards action. So may take a
Yeah.
little bit of time in order for them to come online, but if there's a way to do it, it certainly could be this week to set up towards that next week and get the ball rolling, get the wins coming in. But overall, it's going to be a big congratulations going over to Stratosphere, who showed us a relentless gameplay back to back in game number 1 and game number 2, and kind of just gave us the showdown, or the how to actually snowball leads effectively in League of Legends. So
Yeah.
really did an excellent job of taking objective after objective, building that lead, playing with the Baron power play, kind of using the Infernal as bait in game number 2, and just taking the whole bot side. So they were certainly playing on a whole different level there. So big congratulations to them. But that is going to be it here for the broadcast and production team. We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in towards the UCL stream for tonight. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you guys hit that follow button at the top so that you can stay notified when we go live in towards the future. And also, if you are feeling generous, hit that subscribe button so you can get access to some emotes and some other benefits on the channel. But for now, that is going to be it for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next stream.